I love life. I am so fortunate to be in a position to do something like this, to play golf for a living. My goodness, it's what most people do on vacation. And to have the wife that I have with three children that are so much fun, and to be able to have an impact on their lives, it's been a dream life. I've just been very fortunate.
I think, it really makes us realize as a family what's important at the end of the day, that the golf is very important, but when Phil walks through the door on a Sunday, holding the trophy or not, they don't care if he shot 62 or 82. He's just daddy, and it's...
Here's a factual, straightforwardly reported version, written for voiceover, at roughly the length you asked for. Phil Mickelson's name has been in the golf headlines again this year, and this time it's not because of a shot he hit or a bet he made. It's because of two separate storylines that have now become connected. One is a health situation involving his family. The other is a set of allegations about his personal conduct. Here's what's actually known, according to the reporting that's been published so far. Earlier this year, Mickelson stepped away from LIV Golf. He skipped tournaments and withdrew from the Masters, one of the sport's most significant events, and one where he has a long personal history. At the time, he gave a brief explanation, a family health situation. He didn't share details or timeline, which was notable given how open and active he'd been publicly for years, particularly on social media. That was the first storyline. The second came a bit later, when Golf Digest reported that Mickelson had left his home club, the Farm Golf Club in Rancho Santa Fe, California, following accusations that he behaved inappropriately toward a female employee, including a claim of unwanted physical contact. Mickelson disputed the characterization of that report. Through his attorney, he said he chose to resign from the club himself rather than being asked to leave. More recently, golf journalist Alan Shipnuck published a piece through Scratch that addresses both storylines at once. On the health situation, Shipnuck reported that the family matter Mickelson referenced wasn't about himself or his wife Amy, but involved one of their children dealing with a serious health issue. That account, according to the piece, came from friends of the family, and it offers a possible explanation for why Mickelson stepped back so completely from public life during that stretch. The second part of Shipnuck's reporting is more contested. It lays out additional allegations concerning Mickelson's conduct toward women, drawn from interviews with people described as having known him or worked with him. Among the claims in the piece is an allegation that Mickelson made an inappropriate advance toward the spouse of another professional golfer, and that the woman in question reportedly wants her account heard publicly. The piece also describes other alleged incidents, relayed by people who say they either witnessed them or were told about them directly by others involved. Mickelson's side has responded. A statement released on his behalf disputes some of what's being reported, calling it untrue. The statement also argues that other parts of the piece describe incidents Mickelson has already addressed before, either publicly or privately, and that combining older, acknowledged matters with new, unproven claims creates a misleading overall picture rather than clarifying anything. The statement reiterates that his focus right now is on his family, describes the health matter as private, and says that while he accepts that much of his life is subject to public scrutiny, he believes this particular situation should remain outside of that. It's worth being clear about where things stand. Some of these allegations are new and unproven. Others are described by Mickelson's camp as things he has already acknowledged in some form. The reporting comes from named outlets, Golf Digest and Shipnuck's own outlet, Scratch, citing sources close to the situations described. Mickelson has denied the characterization of at least the Farm Golf Club incident, and his statement disputes elements of the newer report as well. As of now, there's no indication of any legal action tied to these allegations, and no independent confirmation beyond what these two reports describe. Separately from the personal allegations, there's a professional dimension to this story. Mickelson left the PGA Tour for LIV Golf several years ago, a move that was controversial at the time and strained his relationships with a number of tour officials and former peers. That decision has had lasting consequences for how he's viewed within the sport's traditional power structure. Now, with LIV Golf's future looking uncertain, partly due to questions about its Saudi financial backing, there's been renewed discussion about whether players who left for LIV might eventually find a path back to the PGA Tour. According to Shipnuck's reporting, whatever framework is being discussed for that kind of return doesn't appear to include a clear path for Mickelson specifically. That's a significant shift for someone with his resume. 6 major championships, a career spent as one of the most recognizable and talked-about figures in golf, known for his aggressiveness on the course and his willingness to speak his mind off it. Right now, that same visibility means both the health situation and the allegations are receiving national attention, even though he's said the family matter, at least, was never meant to be discussed. What happens next is genuinely unclear. The health situation, according to what's been reported, has been the primary reason for his absence from competition, and it doesn't necessarily connect to the allegations described elsewhere in Shipnuck's piece. But because both stories broke around the same time and were addressed in the same report, they are now being discussed together, even though they involve very different subject matter and very different levels of substantiation. For now, the facts that are firmly established are these: Mickelson stepped away from LIV Golf and the Masters this year, citing a family health matter. Reporting since then has suggested that matter involved one of his children. Separately, he faced and disputed an accusation tied to his departure from a golf club last year, and a more recent report has raised additional, still unproven allegations about his conduct toward women, some of which he denies and some of which his side says have already been addressed. His professional path back to the PGA Tour, if one exists at all, appears uncertain given his history with the tour and LIV's current instability. Whether further details emerge, whether any of the disputed claims are substantiated, and whether this affects his standing in professional golf going forward are all open questions right now. As with any story involving unproven allegations, it's worth waiting for more reporting and any official response before drawing firm conclusions. We'll follow how this develops as more information becomes available.